ready to dive into AI scaling, you really want to get what everyone's talking about right.
Yeah, definitely. It's becoming a big deal, and
It's not just about making AI bigger, right? It's
yeah,
about upping its game, making it smarter, way more capable.
yeah, exactly.
And Ethan Mollick, in his blog post, he gives us a really good way to understand this whole evolution thing. He breaks it down into like these generations.
Yeah, I like that breakdown.
Yeah.
It's a good way to kind of wrap your head around it.
Yeah, it's like charting the growth of like,
Totally.
from a kid to a grown up.
Yeah, each generation is like a massive upgrade.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the basics here. The scaling law. So picture an AI model, like a brain. Okay.
Okay.
This law basically says the bigger the brain, the smarter it gets.
Right?
But hold on. It's not just about size. It's about what you're feeding it.
Yep.
Think more parameters, more training data, more computing power. All of that goes into making a seriously powerful AI.
Yeah. And a really good example of that is that whole thing with Bloomberg GPT.
Oh, yeah.
So Bloomberg, they went all in developing this specialized AI, right? Like they poured tons of financial data into it, spent a fortune on training. You'd think it'd be like the ultimate financial whiz kid.
Right. Like, who needs human analysts anymore?
Exactly. But here's the thing. GPT-4, which is a more general AI model, right,
Mhm.
actually did better than Bloomberg GPT on a bunch of financial tasks.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. So bigger actually is better.
It seems like, yeah.
Whoa.
It suggests that as these models scale up, they don't necessarily have to be super specialized to be good at different things. It's like their sheer size and all that data they process gives them a more well-rounded intelligence.
So are we looking at a future where just a handful of these giant AI models can handle everything?
It's definitely a possibility, but there's a catch.
Got it.
Cost.
Ah.
These massive models are crazy expensive to train and to run. We're talking hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars.
Okay, that makes sense.
You
It's
know.
not exactly a level playing field then.
Right.
But if the payoff is big enough.
Okay, and we're already seeing that potential. The article mentions an experiment with translators using different size AI models. And get this, for every 10-fold increase in computing power, they were 12% more productive.
12% more productive.
Yeah,
It's huge.
it is.
Imagine that kind of efficiency boost in any field. It could totally change how we work. But it's not just about speed, right? These different generations of AI, they represent totally new levels in what they can actually do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And each jump forward needs way more resources than the last. It's like climbing Mount Everest and then immediately deciding to tackle K2. Each step up in scale is like a massive challenge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So we've been talking about scaling AI, right? Basically like stuffing it with more data, more computing power. But then Malik throws in this wild card, these O1 models from OpenAI.
Yeah, the Owen models.
It's not just about how much data they're trained on, it's how much they can actually process before they spit out an answer.
It's like the difference between cramming for a test and actually taking the time to understand the material right. Like the O1 models, they're given more thinking time, I guess you could say. And that lets them do some more complex reasoning before they give you a solution.
It's like they're actually thinking. It's kind of mind-blowing when you actually think about it.
It really is. It's a whole different way of thinking about AI scaling. Instead of just building bigger models, it's about like unlocking these new levels of thinking by giving them the time to really get the information.
So what does that look like practically? What kind of impact does this thinking time have?
Well, imagine you ask an AI a really tough question, right?
Okay.
And instead of just giving you like a canned response, it actually pauses, thinks about it from different angles, and then gives you this really well thought out, nuanced answer.
It's almost as if it's weighing different options just like a person would. This is getting less sci-fi and more like a sneak peek into the future of AI.
Exactly. It's like we've found this whole new dimension of AI development. And the crazy part is we're just getting started.
And here's the real kicker. Malik says we now have two scaling laws happening at the same time.
Right.
The old one with data and computing power, and this new one based on thinking time. It's like we've unlocked a secret level in AI evolution.
It really makes you wonder what happens when you combine those two things right.
Yeah.
Larger models that can handle even more complex thought processes.
We could be talking about AI that can't just analyze tons of data, but actually understand it and reason about it on a level we've never seen.
Exactly. Think about the potential for fields like science, medicine, even art. It's a
Yeah.
future full of possibilities.
But of course, with great power comes,
Oh, absolutely. Malik touches on this too, the ethical stuff.
Right. How do we make sure these super powerful AIs are used for good?
Yeah, that's the big question.
That's a whole other deep dive right there.
Totally.
It's really something else when you think about how far we've come. I mean, we're talking about AI that can tell a cat from a dog in a picture to AI that might be able to think like us. Maybe even better someday.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
And we're not just talking about small improvements here, right? It's like a whole different ball game what AI can potentially do.
And it's all happening so fast.
Yeah.
Remember those AI generations we talked about? That's only going to speed up as these new ways of scaling come into play.
It's exciting, but also kind of scary, don't you think? Like we're on the verge of something massive and we don't even know what it all means yet.
Absolutely. And that's why conversations like this are so important. The more we understand about AI, how it works, what it can do, the better we'll be able to handle whatever comes next.
So where do we go from here? What happens when we've got these super powerful AIs just out in the world? Ones that can think for themselves and make their own choices.
That's the big question, isn't it? And there's no simple answer. But one thing's for sure. The future of AI is tied to our own.
It makes you think, what will we even ask these AIs to do? What problems will we try to solve with them? And maybe more importantly, how will they change us?
Those are the questions we all got to figure out in the years to come. But right now, the most important thing is to stay informed, to stay curious, and to never stop asking questions.
I like that. Well, it's been awesome diving into AI scaling with you. Hopefully you're feeling a little smarter, maybe even inspired to learn more about where AI is headed. Just remember, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one building the next generation of AI. That's all for this deep dive. See you next time.